I've reached the point of where I've come to Ezekiel Kralen's story about the little dogs and the rent and the legal adventure, and this is titled, I Must Plan My Moves Carefully, Ezekiel Kralen wrote. Email correspondence, May 21st, last year. Subject, Deke's visit last night, a bit rocky, continued. Date, May 21st, evening. In fact, shortly before he ended the visit, he began to blast his speaker like some outdoor concert. I waited a few minutes in hopes he wouldn't keep that up, but he did. So I stepped back outside. You need to lower the volume, I loudly proclaimed, seeing as he otherwise wouldn't hear me or even notice I was right beside him because facing the other direction and half drowsy. You're not letting me sleep or anyone else on this side of the building. I will not put up with that. Before abiding my request, he blurted, as he has numerous times before, whatever I do outside should be of no concern to the residents of your building, and it should have nothing to do with you. Bullshit, I exclaimed. You know better, Deke. You need to stop acting like a dumb punk. Okay, keep that up, he snarked, and I will turn up the volume. He then reached for the wheel in a threat to raise the noise to a head-splitting level once again, but he did not, though he did mutter, Want me to throw water in your face again? With that, I picked up the water bowl, now almost empty, and shook it right in his face. Do you want me to pour this on your speaker? I then reached over him, whereupon he recoiled in fear I'd carry out my threat, to turn the volume wheel all the way down to 0, then said, You do that one more time and I'll sick the cops on you. Fuck the cops, he groused. They can't do nothing. Oh, yes, they can, and they already have several times, I countered. They'll chase you away just like before. He then stood up to declare he's leaving now anyway. Well, good riddance, I replied, then crouched down to caress and scritch the doggies, who were most attentive throughout the conflict, though not particularly distraught. I told them kindly how much they are loved, with hugs and kisses to seal my words. Upon returning hovel, once they had vanished up Market Street, I put up my clothesline, one end of which is always tied to the radiator feed pipe, to hang the sleeping bag over it because it had gotten wet in some spots from the hounds spilling the water bowl earlier, and finally managed to crash out by 2:15 a.m., thank Glob. It was otherwise a peaceful evening. I guess Deke just can't flow with pellucid waters for too long and feels like he's got to kick up some waves, like the brat he often is. Yay, another email to my attorney, date May 21st, nighttime. Watson wrote, Good that someone else in the building is taking the initiative. I replied, Who could have used my help in composing the anonymous manuscript regarding both grammar and grievance? I won't tarry over the former, as of course you've already witnessed the flaws, and wherever a better turn of phrase would be advantageous. So let's jump right into the grievances, point by point. Shall we? That is, those that I have a problem with. Point 2. The elevator has not been out of commission for 7 years. Glob helped us more like almost 2 years. Point 5. Handrails are not splintery in the least. In fact, they've been smoothed down by years of wear. They do look cheap, however, simply because they are, Watson, but no building inspector would penalize a property owner for this eyesore. Point 6. There is a washer and dryer in the utility room, which room is off-limits to all tenants except the building manager, the maintenance man, and any necessary repair persons. Again, no building inspector would tick that off on their list of violations. Unless the contract with residents states there are laundry facilities on the premises available to all, and it does not. Point 7. Bedbug treatment has been consistent and effective, albeit a high level of transience, and this building's ancient structure both lend themselves toward greater frequency of infestation, not to mention San Francisco is one of the city's hardest hit due to its international milieu. And when it's impossible and not legally mandated to force all residents out of their units, to perform the best eradication each time it's needed would be prohibitively expensive and a gross disruption of every occupant's life. The mouse complaint may or may not be legitimate, however. I have not had any problem. Nor have I ever seen a mouse skitter down the hallway or in the basement, but rarely. There are traps for them at strategic locations throughout the building. Point 8. The condition of the lobby tiles is trivial. They're just worn down and old-looking, It's not like many or even a few, maybe one or two are missing, or they're sticking up and loosened by foot traffic. They are tiny, like a half-inch square each. Every other grievance brought up I agree with wholeheartedly. However, citing non-issues as cases in point make for a sorry lawsuit, especially when there are many other truly serious matters the unknown whistleblower could easily have noted, one being the gross lack of security we're forced to endure 24/7. I won't bring up additional grievances herein, as you already have a good idea as conveyed by my missives to you over the years. But the inclusion of trivial offenses on that manuscript, along with a dearth of legitimate complaints, weakens justification to withhold rent payments and turning it into a successful lawsuit in the long run. As for our quasi-manager, check collector Cortez Garciac, I wonder how he's going to handle this. A copy of that manuscript has been posted to his door as well. But it's the weekend. I don't think he yet knows about it. I certainly hope he doesn't think it's me who's distributed that paper. I suspect, though, he won't, and he's going to handle this potential mutiny with impressive calm and a steadfast resolve. To his additional credit, he is the young man I've mentioned before, attending Kevin's difficult walks in and out of the building and down the stairs. Yog only knows what other assistance he may be providing for a decrepit old fellow on his last legs. Grievances against this building's poor management over the years is absolutely legit, but I am not about to sign on to this present list for obvious reasons. I will, however, contact Eviction Defense via their online form, which link is offered in the manuscript's closing, and post my own 2 cents. I actually find this whole scenario hilarious, good medic, as it strikes me like a comedy of errors and thus explains the poorly composed manuscript, which I believe intentional, that I be made into a hero in the most ludicrous and easy-to-achieve ways. For moi, this is more like slaying a banana slug than any dragon, for which I conjecture that Cortez just might play the role of going berserk to manifest some schmaltzy soap opera around this imaginary rent rebellion for all residents to enjoy and gossip over. You never know with these bodhisattva clowns just how they're going to play out their designated role. But one thing I'm sure of, you can't always count on jocularity and mischief thrown into the mix. But get this, Watson, they're doing it all for this unredacted pilgrim above and beyond anyone else. I must therefore plan my moves carefully that no one else get too uppity with their thespian prowess and steal the show right from under my nose. Terry Pterodactyl has just reassured me that this will not happen. He'll make sure of it. Best comrade ever, outside of your own honorable self, my osmium empress of all dimensions and possibilities, of course. To be continued.